Okay, what is going on, LBHT crew B? What is going on?
I don't know, man. I feel like that didn't play the whole intro, and now I used to have a handle on it, and now I never know what's going on with the videos.
Yeah, the last 3 weeks I've noticed that, and my videos already lagging and everything. We gotta get off this platform. We gotta
We
get off
are,
this platform.
we are,
All right,
very very soon.
look at that. I'm freezing already. It was fine just a second ago. You said it's fine. There it goes. There it goes. There goes the camera.
You know when that wouldn't happen is if you had a camera.
I have a camera.
You don't have a camera. You have
I
a cell phone. Is what
I
you
have
have
a
masquerading.
First of all, don't be putting my business out there.
Masquerading
Don't be putting my
as
business
a
out there in the
camera
streets.
is what you
Okay?
got.
I have a camera.
Everybody knows you're a poor and you got an Android, and that's why it's not working. All right, everyone knows this. It's ridiculous.
I'm not gonna hear from you. It took us 4 months to get you to stop cutting your head off with your webcam.
That was a whole different issue. That was about my comfort. Okay, that wasn't even like
That's about your
that
stubbornness.
wasn't about the technology. That wasn't about the hardware.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, the struggle right out the gate over here. All
Struggling
right.
for you.
You too. You can't get the intro right.
I got the
Right.
intro right. That ain't on me. That's on EV Bucks. All right.
What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hope your week is going well, but if not, I hope it gets better starting right now. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So wherever you're watching us, make sure you hit that like button, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you listen to the audio podcast, first of all, I apologize for last week because I didn't post the audio because this thing didn't record, and I got a little lazy trying to convert it to an MP3 player. But look, we're back this week, all right? And it's Thursday for you guys, so happy Thursday. Hope you're enjoying your lunch, all right? Make sure you leave a 5-star review on this. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Bazel was first. What's going on, Bazel? Salute to you. We got Pay the Bills in the house. What's up, Pay the Bills? Says should have bet on Ronnie making the comeback and paid in advance. Yeah. I put Ronnie in the thumbnail. B, right? That's the title. Okay. Should we franchise Ronnie Stanley? All right. The answer is yes. Okay, but we'll get into that. Who else is in here? Jemiah's in the house. What's up, Jemiah? Says keep Ronnie, draft another tackle. Okay, I like that. He also says trademark, grab Keenan Allen. Okay.
I mean, I would be on board with trademark, but I don't think you can trademark for anything of value.
I don't know. I think we can.
Maybe.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. The 100 in the house says keep Ronnie, sign Becton, and sign Chase Young, then draft O-line, D-line, wide receiver, and edge. All right.
You want to still be disappointed by your edge rusher signing Chase Young?
Salute to Osmond. Well, he says, hey, we get guys off the street and they turn things around. They have the career, the career best over here. Osmond says, hello, Jose, Brodny, and all chat. What's going on, Osmond? Just Aloe in the house says, hello, LBHT friends. My hot take is I wouldn't pay Kyle Hamilton. Ooh. Says I would use that money on number 1 wide receiver or game-wrecking pass rusher. Okay. All right. D Weezy in the house says Cooper Kupp will look nice in process blue. What do you think about Cooper Kupp in Carolina, B?
I think that though I wouldn't be mad at it, but that's got to be down the list of potential acquisitions. Not at the top.
All right. Big Reg in the house. What's up, everybody? That's what he says. What's up with you, Big Reg? Big Reg just put out a video not that long ago discussing the All-Star game, which we will also discuss on this week's Court of Public Opinion, okay? Because we got to talk about it, B. We got to talk about it. DDSQ in the house says, what's good, y'all? What's good, DDSQ? Salute. Andrew's in the house. What's up, Andrew? Says, what's up, guys? How are y'all doing? We're doing well, Andrew. How are you? Appreciate you coming through. Daniel Franklin in the house says, keep Ronnie, draft 2 guards. I like that. Our chat, we have to have the smartest fans in the world, man. Like this is by far the most rational group that we've assembled over here. Okay, a lot of like-minded people over here. Just how it says we can get a 4th for Mark Andrews. I think we can get more.
I don't
I think
think
we
you
can
get
get
more.
more. Brent Lauren in the house says, "What's good, everybody? Much love." Hey, much love to you, Brent. I appreciate you coming through. All right. Got all the shout outs over here. I got to fix my camera. And we are going to get into some Ravens talk. We're going to talk. We're going to talk some free agents, sort of. We're going to talk Ronnie Stanley possibly being franchised, and we'll talk about your boy Tucker because you know more allegations. All right, we'll discuss that, and we'll discuss the Ravens' lack of action on that. That's what I want to discuss more than anything. All right, and we'll get into the NBA All Star Game. All right, but first, we like to start every show with a Black History fact, and B and Okole have a Black History fact for you.
Welcome to this week's Black History Fact. Autumn Lockwood is a trailblazer in the realm of sports performance coaching, particularly within the NFL. Currently, she holds the position of Associate Sports Performance Coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. Lockwood made history by being the first black woman to coach in a Super Bowl during Super Bowl 57, and later became the first black woman to win a Super Bowl when the Eagles triumphed in Super Bowl 59, originating from Media, Pennsylvania. Lockwood pursued her higher education at the University of Arizona, where she earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and played defense for the women's soccer team. She furthered her education by obtaining a master's degree in sports management from East Tennessee State University. Before her tenure with the Eagles, Lockwood served as the Director of Sports Performance at the University of Houston and as the Assistant Director of Basketball Sports Performance at East Tennessee State. Her NFL experience includes an internship with the Atlanta Falcons in 2019. In her role as a performance coach, Lockwood focuses on enhancing athletes' physical capabilities by identifying their strengths and weaknesses. Her contributions have been recognized by the Philadelphia City Council, which honored her during Black History Month in 2023. Lockwood's achievements underscore her expertise and commitment, marking a significant step toward greater diversity and representation in the NFL.
All right, salute. I like that Black History fact. All right, now look, Kim. All right, you just got in here. I don't like this, Kim. I don't like this. She says Stanley to KC.
And Trey Smith to Baltimore.
Well, yeah, I want both in Baltimore.
Well,
All right.
it's probably not going to happen. Y'all are broke boys.
Okay, we're gonna discuss this. All right, let's get into this. First of all, let's bring up our NFL scene. Okay, the NFL scene misses us. Our Steelers miss us. Yes. Now I'm talking. Now we're talking. All right. The franchise season is upon us. The franchise window is upon us. Okay. This is the time where teams can franchise tag their player of choice, or play a free agent player if they can't work out a deal. Now, Kim, who is a Kansas City Chiefs fan, mentioned Ronnie Stanley to Kansas City, but Trey Smith is somebody that they need to look to keep if they're trying to solidify that O-line. So I would imagine if they don't work out something with Trey Smith, that they will use a tag on him. I think he's only like 25 years old.
Somewhere around there. He's very young. Very young and very good.
Very young, very good. I can't see him hitting free agency, but if he does, that is definitely somebody the Ravens need to look to get.
We'll definitely look right past while they're trying to make their way to that bargain bin.
All right, I'm going to go on a few rants during this whole discussion, but this is, what B is saying right now is true, right? We make a little jokes, whatever, but we know the Ravens' philosophy. We know what they prioritize, and it's not the things that are going to get us a Super Bowl, unfortunately, right? And we know the team like the Chiefs will prioritize that. They will be the ones to get Ronnie Stanley if Ronnie Stanley hits free agency. They will be the ones to keep Trey Smith and make sure that what happened to them in the Super Bowl doesn't happen to them again the following year. We know this because they've done this before. This isn't the first time where the O-line failed them in the Super Bowl and they turned right around and stacked up and went right back to the Super Bowl and won it.
Yeah.
Right? So we know they'll correct those things. The Ravens are always looking for a bargain. So the thing with Ronnie Stanley is he's 31. Okay, he still has plenty of good years left in him. He was battling some injuries. I know that was a concern, right, going into this past season. And they redid his deal to where it was a prove-it year. He only got paid for the games that he played. He played all 17 games. And he played at a very high level. He's over the injuries. Now, part of the reason why he stayed hurt is because the team kept him hurt. They had him playing while he was hurt, knowing that he wasn't 100%. That's on the team. That's on John Harbaugh. So they shared the blame when it comes to some of the issues that Ronnie Stanley's had. And once you saw that he was healthy, they should have been doing everything that they could during the season to extend him. Right? Now, to me, it feels like they never intended to keep Ronnie Stanley. Because how can you play any better than he played this past year and you not give him a contract? So it's not a question of, we have to see it, we just got, have a prove-it year, see if he's still Ronnie, and then we'll give him a deal. Well, you proved it.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to sign him, which I don't know. They might be working something out right now. Okay? We're just speculating. But if you don't sign him, then to me, that tells me you were never intending to sign him. And if you were never intending to sign him, why didn't you draft a tackle?
Yeah, they don't seem to believe in tackles over there. This isn't the first time that they've been looking down the barrel of not having a starting left tackle. When Ronnie went down for the season and they moved Orlando Brown over. They moved Orlando Brown over after they went dumpster diving for Alejandro Villanueva because they didn't have anybody on the roster. I don't understand how they consistently go into seasons with no depth at the tackle position, knowing that it is the most important position on the line and the most difficult position on the line to fill. It's like they don't even try. Now, they do have Pro Bowl Daniel Falalele, who played right tackle in college. They can always try and slide him back over there. Didn't look great. Didn't look great initially when he played a little bit left tackle in the NFL. But the question is, what are you going to do, right? Because the talk is if Ronnie Stanley does leave, they're going to move Roger Rosengarten over to left tackle, and then just have that hole at right tackle, possibly fill it with a draft pick, which Eric DeCosta hasn't been great at that. Unless you're talking about using that first round pick on an O-lineman, I wouldn't have a whole lot of faith in you being able to replace Rosengarten with another rookie. And even then, you still have issues at guard, left guard specifically, because right guard is manned by Pro Bowler Daniel Falalele at this point. But again, if he moves over to right tackle, then there's another hole right there.
You have an issue. I mean, B's joking, but we have issues at both guard positions.
What you mean I'm joking? He's only like 3 years in.
Anyway. Still doesn't know how to put hands on
gravity. Once again, I don't need to explain this to y'all again. I explained it when we did the roundup. I've explained it here. I've explained it on the overtime show. Gravity. You don't ever see any defenders around Daniel Falalele, which means they're not around Lamar Jackson. Okay. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. It's borderline malpractice from the front office and the coaching staff to have the line constantly be in flux. Now, everybody understands, things happen. Guys will get hurt. Maybe people will leave in free agency. Guys can get past their prime and kind of decline, and you have to fill those holes as they come up. But they're not even attempting to make sure that they have a solid starting five. We talked all the time about Eric DeCosta saying the line will be good next year. Well, what about this year, right? He went into the 2024 season not caring if they even had a solid offensive line, and in fact believing they didn't, that it would be another year, that they wouldn't be good until 2025. So I don't know why there would be any trust. Pro Bowl alternate who ended up in the Pro Bowl, I believe. Anyway, so I'm not sure why there would be any trust in the front office or in the coaching staff to get this situation taken care of. And like you said, I don't believe that they want Ronnie Stanley there. They looked at Rashad Bateman, who hadn't performed at all in his career, and said, let's get this man extended, right? They look at Ronnie Stanley, who's been one of the best tackles in the NFL for the entirety of his career, and they're like, we'll see.
Well, Kim says it right here, and she's absolutely right. She says, you know why. They are depending on Lamar's legs. Where's the lie? She's absolutely right. And Kim, we refer to that as the black quarterback treatment. Okay. And I have to change it. I have to call it the old school black quarterback treatment, because smart organizations realize that, we got somebody that we can win with here, and let's surround talent with them, a la the Eagles with Jalen Hurts, a la the Chiefs with Pat Mahomes, right? Mm-hmm. The smart organizations say, oh, this guy can move and throw, let's put more around him.
Pat Mahomes looked at me and said, I'm only half black. Let's build up that O-line, though.
Yeah. But Jalen Hurts got the better O-line this year, and Saquon, and AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith. They put everything around him, and it wasn't a 1 year thing. Every year they said, we can do better. Mm-hmm. Miles Sanders, we can do better. DeAndre Swift, we can do better. They kept on stacking talent around him. That's how you do it. The Ravens are the only ones that are looking at it and saying, Lamar will get it done. We don't need to spend that much money over there. Lamar will get it done, which is why, I just.
Well, why would it be any different? They're old school in all of their thinking, so why would it be different at quarterback?
Which is why I need for Lamar to protect himself, right? Like we didn't even want Lamar to sign this contract that he signed. I wanted him to force them to give him the fully guaranteed contract, or risk going into the season without him, and then they all be fired, right? We can play this game of chicken. I will sit out until week 11, and let's see how many games you win. And when I come back, I'll still have a job. You won't have a job, right? Because this team isn't built well. It only looks that way because of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson sits out for an extended period of time. You're not winning. Harbaugh's fired. EDC's fired. Yep. They know this, right? So, but I'm getting off. I'm getting off topic. But if they don't bring back Ronnie Stanley, that means the O-line will be worse than it was starting out this past season. Mm-hmm. Because this past season, we went into the season saying, we got our left tackle and we got our center. We don't know about the other positions. We don't know about left guard. We don't know about right guard. Don't know about right tackle. Right? Roger Rosengarten wasn't even a starting right tackle at the time. Right? He didn't get into the game right away. Okay. Voorhees was supposed to be the guy. Voorhees was the one. Did you guys remember Voorhees? Andrew Voorhees, B. That's all I heard about. Mm-hmm. We got Voorhees. Apparently Voorhees could play all these positions, but Voorhees, Ben Cleveland, we got all these guys. Ben Cleveland got couples.
John over here saying, "I told you so" about Ben Cleveland. I knew he was a bad apple from the start.
Right.
He will not be back.
But all these question marks, and they got a little bit better throughout the season, but the guard play on both sides was not good, was not up to par. And we should be building off of what we have: a healthy Ronnie Stanley, a solid-looking young right tackle, and Tyler Linderbaum, a good center. Mm-hmm. You should be building on that, not stepping backwards. Why are we afraid to pay Ronnie Stanley? Right? What would it be? I think what's being floated out there is around $20 million for Ronnie Stanley. What's the problem with paying $20 million for Ronnie Stanley? Why is that too high to pay? Why do we think we don't have the money to pay Ronnie Stanley. If I ask you guys right now, because we talked about Myles Garrett and how they won't, the Browns won't trade Myles Garrett to the Ravens. But what's the alternative, B? Max Crosby.
Mm-hmm.
You guys think we can get Max Crosby? If the Raiders say Max Crosby is available, everybody says do it. Well, Max Crosby, I got it up here right now. His cap number for 2025, $27 million. Do we have the money to pay Max Crosby?
Yeah.
If we had the money to pay Max Crosby, how do we not have the money to pay Ronnie Stanley? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the same pool of money. This isn't like a separate account, allocated for defense and not the offense. It's the same pool of money. If you can pay $27 million, yes, I'm positive.
Because like Cam says in the chat, you overpaid for Roquan, Nnamdi, and Marcus Williams. All that came out of the defensive pool. I haven't seen anybody get paid out of the offensive pool yet, outside of Lamar.
If you can pay $27 million for Max Crosby, you have your money for Ronnie Stanley. You don't need Max Crosby. You need Ronnie Stanley. Mm-hmm. You absolutely need Ronnie Stanley and more. Everybody focus on what Philly did on the defensive side in that Super Bowl. Right? Look how they dominated the Chiefs O-line. But what you didn't talk about is what the Chiefs D-line didn't do to the Eagles O-line.
Right.
Because they also have a great O-line.
They've got Chris Jones on their O-line. I didn't see him wrecking shop.
Karlaftis.
So,
right? Like,
and that's why I said the people take the wrong lesson from that game. It's not, let's go and get 17 edge rushers. It's, let me build an O-line so that doesn't happen to me. The Eagles didn't do that to everybody every week, right? And the Chiefs' O-line was in disarray, and they took advantage of it. It's great to be able to do that, and Baltimore should be able to do that to teams since you've spent first, second, third, and fourth round picks on edge rushers and also signed guys in free agency, but that's neither here nor there, ADC. But the main point is that if you go out there and you re-sign Ronnie Stanley, you bring back Linderbaum, you bring back Rosengarten, and maybe either go into free agency and get a guard or two or in the draft, that's not going to happen to you when you play a team like Philly.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring back Stanley and what's up, Garnett? And he reminded us we almost traded for Darius Slay. We almost traded for Darius Slay. We almost traded for the guy from the Dolphins. I forget his name.
Jalen Ramsey. Oh, Xavier Howard.
Well, Xavier Howard, and we almost traded for Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
Right. They've always been trying to come up on a second quarterback, and money doesn't stop them from getting these guys. You know what we can't afford? We can't afford a $23 million we're playing Roquan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
If you think paying $20 million for Ronnie Stanley is too much, what the hell are we doing with Roquan Smith?
Like, because I know what Ronnie Stanley does. Ronnie Stanley protects Lamar on his blind side, right? If you ask me what Roquan Smith does, I'm like, I don't know, give speeches. Lead.
I don't even dislike Roquan.
Yeah.
I think Roquan's a good linebacker. I think Matt BK is a good interior defensive lineman. Why do we need to spend the money for them? And again, this isn't to say these guys aren't good. They don't make a difference. Our defense was bad. Right? They're bad. We can't. What more do you think we can do for this defense to get us to where the Eagles are? We're not that team. We're not that team. We don't have the talent and we don't have the coaching to be that team. So throwing more money on that side is a waste of money. Taking money out of there and putting it on the offensive side, that's the investment that you want to make. People don't want to hear that because it's Baltimore and you want defense. But, hey, man, you got to talk to EDC and John Harbaugh about that. They made the team what it is. And, look, we have a generational quarterback, something we've never had in Baltimore before. So you got to get around that. You got to support that. Now, Matt Beacon and Roquan aren't going anywhere. I looked at their cap numbers. We can't afford to cut them. But talking about cap, right? We have about $10 million in cap space. Not a whole lot. But we can open up $11 million just by getting rid of, I don't care, it's trade, cut, whatever. Mark Andrews can go. Aguilar, I think, opens up another $3 million. There's a few other people. We can open up like another $18-19 million by making some cuts. Now, Marlowe, cutting Marlowe will open up a lot of money, but I want to keep Marlowe. But Mark Andrews, for $11 million, and we don't have a lot of cap space, that's a cut that you can make.
Yeah. Especially since he's not the best tight end on the team, and you already have another guy to be the backup tight end. It's egregious if he is on the roster next year. Like, it tells you that Baltimore just doesn't have the heart to do the difficult things. They don't like getting rid of players they like.
Garner says the Ravens try to think 3 years down the road instead of focusing on a real time window. The Ravens are always just thinking about saving money. They tell the fan base that they're thinking 3 years down the road. They're not thinking 3 years down the road. They're just thinking about how they can save money. They don't want to set a precedence for paying players over here, right? Pay them fair, but not overpay. That's their thing. That's their mantra. Right player, right price. Right, a player on a budget. That's their thing, And they think they're all wise and they're outsmarting the league, and all they're doing is blowing opportunities for Super Bowls. There was a point where we had 2 Super Bowls. The Eagles had none. Now they're tied with us, and they'll probably make it back to the Super Bowl before us. There was a time we had 2 Super Bowls, and the Chiefs had none. And now they have 3, and they're looking for 3 more. Right? Your stupid mantra doesn't work anymore. You need to pay up. You need to pay talent. All right? Yes, Sugar, and you are a baller on the budget. Appreciate you coming through. Antonio, what's going on? My friend Antonio here is what up, peeps? Happy hump day. Andrews ain't going anywhere because we keep people we like. Facts. Look how long we kept all those players and coaches we've kept through the years. You're right. All we can do here is speak the truth, right? We tell you guys what the organization needs to do, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. People think we're negative a lot of times. We're not the ones making these dumb moves. All right, like. Some people, I've seen comments. I've heard people tell us, "Hey, you're being too negative." We said you need to fix the O-line last year. This time last year, and people were saying we need to get edge rusher, we need to get corner, we need to do all this stuff. Draft comes, we draft cornerback. Everybody loved the pick. We said we hate the pick. It needs to be O-line. All right. Now we went and got Rosengard in the second round. We said, cool. Should have gotten the O-line in the first round too. Right? After the draft. What are we doing at guard? Voorhees. We don't like Voorhees. We don't believe in Voorhees. We hope he works out. Maybe he works out. But how could you possibly believe that a man who was a 7th round pick, who was hurt all through college, who was hurt his entire rookie season, how could you possibly believe that he was going to come in and hold down a starting job? Based on what? Where did they get to see him practice or play or anything to determine this guy can be our starter? Right?
Nowhere.
But that's what they sold you on. And you guys believed it until the season started, right? And the bullets started flying, and it was like, oh no, take him out. Same thing with Falele. I know that's B's guy, but the game just looks too fast for him.
Pro bowler.
Pat McCarry, who is a career rotational player, all of a sudden can be a starter? No. And they knew what it was. EDC said it early in the season. Next year for this O-line. So they didn't expect the O-line to be good. And not only did they not expect it to be good, if because all this we're saying right now is assuming that they don't re-sign Ronnie Stanley, which I hope I'm wrong about. But if they don't re-sign Ronnie Stanley, they never planned on bringing Ronnie Stanley back, and they never had a backup plan for when Ronnie Stanley left.
No.
Because even if you want to say Rosengarten can hold it down, they weren't planning on getting Rosengarten. They got lucky. He fell to them. They got lucky. Yeah. Planning to replace your starting left tackle means you're getting somebody in the first round, even if you got to move up in the draft to get them.
They didn't have a plan for losing Orlando Brown either. They don't plan things.
No.
Yeah. They say, hey, we're the Baltimore Ravens. The league will provide. Right? Ever since, I mean, it probably even goes back farther, but what really kind of cemented that in my mind was the Elvis Dumervil situation where they needed an edge rusher, and Elvis Dumervil was all set to go back to Denver, and his agent forgot to fax the contract back in time. And then they got themselves an edge rusher. Because they said, hey, if we just sit and wait around, something will fall into our laps. And sometimes it does. And then sometimes you start on Alejandro Villanueva in week 1 against the Raiders, and then you have to panic.
I think they look through the history. A lot of this is when Ozzie was the GM, and they say, hey, we've had a lot of success doing things this way. Ozzie had, he got 2 Super Bowls. Could have had more. Could have had a lot more if he took quarterback seriously, if he took offense seriously at some point, right? But we wasted a lot of prime years of this team with Kyle Bowler. A lot of prime years, right? We wasted too much time with Brian Billick. We're wasting too much time now with John Harbaugh, right? Like, they do things and they feel like just because every now and then they get lucky, that's the way to do it. You don't need to go out there and overreact one way or another. Mm-hmm. I could get with that if EDC was good at his job. And I'm not just talking about the draft. Like B pointed out, there's 3 ways you can build your team: draft, free agency, trade. What does he do well?
Nothing.
He doesn't. Really. So he doesn't draft well. We can establish that he doesn't draft well. He drafts a lot of players. Some of those players are good, but I wouldn't say he's particularly good at drafting. Right? You're supposed to get your first round picks right. You're supposed to. I don't care if you're picking at the end of the draft of the first round. You're supposed to get that right. All right. Second round picks, for the most part, he doesn't hit on. Rosengarten he hit on. That's good. I think his best draft was with Kyle Hamilton and Linderbaum and Isaiah Likely. That was a good draft. I think he did a good job in that one. Outside of that, not particularly well. Trade. All right, trade for Roquan. Solid, good. Good. Got a good player there.
Is it though? Because again, you traded for Roquan and it worked out great that season. Mm-hmm. And then you gave him $20 million a year, and now everybody wants him gone.
Well. So that part of it, that's not what he's not good at. If we're paying Roquan less, okay, he's good. He's not great. Fine. Overpaying him. I hate to say overpay. Players get what they get, right? But you paid him a lot of money, and he's not living up to what you wanted him to be, right? Free agency, what do we do well in free agency? Nothing. Like, we don't really do, like, okay, Kyle Van Noy, we got Kyle Van Noy off the street. We got Jadeveon Clowney, and they came in and they performed better than the guys that we drafted because we were bad at drafting.
Yeah, and those guys, they sit and they wait. They let the rest of the league decide what veterans they're going to sign in free agency. They're not proactive in any sense. They sit and wait and they say, hey, whoever's the last edge rusher left is who we're going to sign. I don't know why you put that up. They wait till the wide receiver market dries up and they're like, okay, well, Dez is there, Deshaun Jackson is there, nobody wants Sammy Watkins anymore. Okay, bring him in, You know, they're never. Hey, somebody cut Demarcus Robinson last week. Go bring him in. They're never proactive in saying, "Man, let's go and get the best talent that we can get." Particularly, they do that a little bit on defense. Occasionally, they'll do that on defense. They don't ever do it on offense.
Yeah.
And I'm including the Derrick Henry signing because Saquon Barkley was sitting right there.
Yes. And I can't stress this enough. And anybody is going to tell you, because I hear the gatekeepers out there already saying Ronnie Stanley is going to cost too much. We can't afford him. Right? Now, there's a difference between saying the Ravens aren't going to do it. Right? They're not going to tag him. They're not going to sign him. Okay. And the Ravens needing to sign him and should sign him. Right? You'll hear people say, because they don't think he's going, he's coming back, that he's not worth that money. He costs too much. Like, we can't afford to pay him that. And Rosengarten can slide over there. Right? We only have so much cap space. It can't go towards protecting Lamar Jackson. That's what they're telling you. We'll put Rosengarten over there and we'll keep our fingers crossed. Mm-hmm. We hope it works out. Right tackle? I don't know. Not we'll get one. Where are we going to get one, B? Not in the first round, because nobody's saying get a tackle in the first round, except for Coach Evans in his mock draft has a tackle in the first round, right? Most people want an edge or corner.
And again, I want anybody out there who thinks that Eric DeCosta is a good GM and is doing a good job to ask yourself. You don't even have to answer to me, but ask yourself why you have the same exact needs every offseason. Why you need edge rushers every offseason. Why you need corners every offseason. Why you need wide receivers every offseason. Why you need O-line every offseason. If he's a good GM and he's doing a good job, why do you have the same needs every single year? And this is part of the problem right here. Ivy Sand says trading for Rowe was to correct the mistake of drafting Queen. Mm-hmm. In theory, but no, because that wasn't the mistake. The mistake was not drafting T. Higgins. So you double down on being wrong, right? Like,
well, that's what he's saying. He's saying they made a mistake by drafting Queen.
Yeah, no. But he's saying that trading for Roquan was to correct it. Correcting it would have been trading for Justin Jefferson or A.J. Brown or somebody like that. That's how you correct that mistake, because the mistake was not taking T. Higgins, right? It wasn't that we took the wrong linebacker and it didn't work out. The mistake was we took a linebacker instead of a number one wide receiver. But they went out and they got a linebacker anyway instead of going out and getting the number one wide receiver.
The original mistake was not signing C.J. Mosley.
Mm-hmm.
That was the original mistake. And I remember asking, this is when we first started. I remember asking, yes, not resign Mosley. There you go, Hendo. I remember asking at the time, because Mosley was looking for about, I don't know, like 15 to 17 mil a year.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, that's too much for Mosley. And I said, okay, let's say we draft a linebacker. I think this might even been after we got Patrick Queen. But I said, we get Patrick Queen, and he lives up to expectations. Are you comfortable with paying him $20 million a year? Because that's what it will cost by the time his contract comes up. It'll cost about $20 million a year. And of course the answer is no, but he didn't live up to expectations. We trade for Roquan and we end up paying him $20 million a year. And here we are, the second year of his deal, looking at him like, how many more years we got left on this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a position that you want to invest heavily in. Ray Lewis is not walking through that door. Okay? Mm-hmm. Ray Lewis is not walking through that door. Ed Reed is not walking through that door. Right? Love Kyle Hamilton. Man, I hope he stays here. But those aren't the positions that are going to be game changers anymore. All right? The league is showing you what it takes to win. We have the quarterback, luckily, and we need to start supporting that side of the ball. Get him an O-line, and don't do it the cheap way, right?
Yeah.
What's up?
Honestly, House saying he hated C.J. Mosley. He was terrible in coverage. He was actually pretty good in coverage, but what you're realizing here is that linebackers suck at coverage, so you shouldn't be looking at those guys for that anyway.
He's better than both Roquan and Patrick Queen.
Like Hendo said, he's better than Queen and Roquan combined. But yeah, you shouldn't be That's not the way you judge linebackers because, no, they're not good in coverage. That's why they play linebacker.
Yeah, you want somebody like Fred Warner. There's only one Fred Warner in the league.
And
Right.
the other thing is, like, that's why you shouldn't be putting so much value on that position. Right? Because
Right.
they're essentially run stoppers. I mean, you get what you can out of them in coverage. There's some guys who are better at it than others, but they're essentially run stoppers in a league that doesn't run a whole lot.
Yeah.
And as the league trends back more towards, bigger, more physical offenses that run the ball more, then their value will go back up. But right now, it's a waste of time and money.
Yeah, and we're supposed to be a team that valued secondary more than anything, right? That's what it looked like for a while. We invested a lot of picks. We're paying, our safeties. We're looking for a second corner to pair with Marlon Humphrey, right? It looked like we were investing heavily in our secondary because we want to be good at coverage, and we flipped the script now. Now we're zagging again, right? We actually don't want to pay those guys. And like me and B said, it's not about zigging and zagging. It's not about paying, the lower value positions because that's what they value more than they value those positions more than anybody else. They just trying to be cheap, right? They put value in tight end because it's cheaper to pay a tight end. They don't care how effective it is, right? Mark Andrews doesn't make a difference on this team. I will debate anybody on that. There are a lot of people a lot of Mark Andrews fans. If you're a Mark Andrews fan, close your ears, okay? Leave the channel for a second, come back. Mark Andrews doesn't make a difference on this team.
Well, and listen, I think that a lot of fans don't realize this with their teams, but particularly Baltimore fans who love their roster up and down for the most part because they're so much smarter than everybody else, and every year draft Twitter tells them what a great job they did in the draft all 3 days. Most players on your team don't make any difference. Most players.
Yeah.
Nandi BK, he doesn't make a difference. Owe, he doesn't make a difference. Nate Wiggins, even Marlowe, he's not really a difference maker. Kyle Hamilton, he is at times, not consistently a difference maker. You've got one guy who is a difference maker every single time they go out on the field, and his name's Lamar Jackson. Now, you can argue Derrick Henry as well this past season, and that's fine, but it doesn't go beyond those guys. And that's excluding the O-line. Obviously, the O-line has to be there and has to play well every single week. But when we're talking about defenders and skill position players, you have one or two guys who are difference makers. That's it.
Yeah, and not to say that those guys aren't good. They're very good. They're very good. But they have to play well as a unit, and that comes from the coaching. Now, hopefully Zach Orr makes that second-year leap that Mike McDonald did this year. I'm a little skeptical about that too, but hopefully he does that. But the coaching just isn't there, and we don't have those type. Like we said, we don't have those difference makers on the team. We could get away with bringing in whatever coach back when we had Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Haloti Ngata, Terrell Suggs, all of them Hall of Famers, or future Hall of Famers, right? That's not normal. Those guys don't need coaching, right? They got to a point where it's just like, yeah, okay, whatever, defensive coach, we got it from here. That's what kind of players those were.
Ed Reed was in college and told his head coach to go sit in his office and leave them alone.
Yeah,
and he was smart enough to do it, and they won a championship.
Yeah, so yeah, we don't have that. These guys need coaching, like most players need coaching. You got to put them in the right positions, and they'll perform because they are good. But if you're not going to get serious about that, don't waste your money. You put money into the defense this year coming up, you're wasting your money. 31st ranked in coverage. I don't care if you're number one in rush defense. That doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean anything. Can you cover? Can you stop them from putting up points? Can you stop the ball when the ball's in the air? Can you stop them on 3rd and long? No. Right? What's going to change next year? Because we got Chuck Pagano as secondary coach. What a joke.
Chuck Strong. All right. It's not a joke. Okay. That's forever. But we're pretty deep into the show now. I think it's time to talk about what everyone's here to hear about. That's the
Yes,
Carolina
yes.
Panthers. The word out there now is that the Bengals may franchise tag T Higgins. I know it's upsetting to me too. I know that we all were looking forward to him heading on down to Charlotte, but it looks like it may not happen. It looks like they're trying to get a long-term deal done to keep him in Cincinnati because they care about the quarterback, not like you folks in Baltimore. So for Carolina, that changes the offense. Changes the offseason, right? Uh, Now that's putting a guy like McMillan in play at number 8. Potentially Travis Hunter, whichever one of those guys falls, and the reality is they should be focusing their efforts in free agency on the defensive side of the ball, right? What ain't nobody want to talk about the Pampers? Oh, you about to get blocked, Steve-O. Anyway, the reality is look, when you're trying to compete in the NFL, it's much easier to do it with a great offense and a middle of the pack defense than the opposite, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's much easier to go from terrible defense to middle of the pack defense through free agency than getting those kind of getting that difference in play on the offensive side of the ball, right? And you're not going to get it necessarily through the draft either. I mean, at 8, you just take the best player there because you're expecting a great player, a difference-making player in the top 10. But for Carolina, if they go into free agency, they sign a couple D linemen, a couple corners, they're going to get Derek Brown back. They'll get some of the other guys back who were injured this past season. That defense is going to go from the worst of all time, which was what they were last year, to middle of the pack fairly easily. Right, just going into the draft or going into free agency and signing, whatever's there at wide receiver is not going to make the same kind of impact on the offense because you're not, you want to get those really those home run hitters, those explosive players on offense. But like I said, for Carolina, they got to start looking at McMillan. They got to start looking at Travis Hunter. Not saying taking the defense out of it completely at number 8. But T. Higgins not being available is a bit of a blow to their offseason plans.
Now, what do you feel about this? House says I think they're going to tag and trade T, which I kind of feel too, right? Because are they going to really give T. Higgins a long-term deal and then give Chase a long-term deal? Jamar Chase talking about he want $40 million a year. Okay,
I think that they will. I think they're going to try to. Yeah.
I think they are going to. I'm with House. I think they're going to trade. If they tag him and they say, hey, he's available, what do the Carolina give up for him?
I mean, it wouldn't. It would have to be. It had to be no more than the second round. You're not getting the number 8 pick for him. He's. I think he's a number 1 receiver, but he's not top of the league receiver.
A second round, that's a high second round pick.
Well, their second round pick I actually don't think is that high because I believe this year they have the Rams this year, but I'll have to check on that. But I don't think that I don't think they're going to look to trade him. I think they're going to look to get a long term deal done. Joe Burrow has been campaigning for T. Higgins to come back because again, he needs T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and who else? Who else do they have to pay right now? That's the real issue. You pay Joe Burrow, you pay Jamar Chase, you pay T. Higgins, and
who else? They gotta get some defense. I mean, because
what I mean is they don't have anybody else on the roster who needs a big time deal. Like you can fill in those positions with average guys. They made it to the Super Bowl without an O-line and with a pretty mediocre defense.
But they missed the playoffs this year.
They did.
Because of bad defense.
They missed the playoffs.
Bad O-line.
If we're being honest, they missed the playoffs this year because of a lot of bad luck. A lot of bad luck, and that generally evens out over years. But if they don't have T. Higgins, and it's just Joe and Jamar Chase, I'm not saying that they'll be bad. But I'm not saying they'll be bad, but it's going to be a lot more difficult with the team they have because here's the thing: like you're saying, they need a better O line.
If Lamar has just Jamar Chase, what happens?
Okay, well, Lamar's better than Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow's really good, though.
He is really good, but Lamar's better. But like what you're saying, yeah, they need some O-line help. They need help on defense. Not having T. Higgins is not going to give you the money to get that. Like that kind of stuff, they are going to have to draft. If they pass on T. Higgins, you're not going to be able to fix your O-line and fix your defense off of what you would have paid T. Higgins.
They can get some guards.
I mean, listen.
And
I understand that
this year.
I understand that Carolina was in a position where they had to do this, but Robert Hunt costs $20 million a year. Like you're not getting discounts on really good players.
But you gotta protect your quarterback, right? And I'm not saying T. Higgins ain't worth it. Obviously he is, but you gotta pay him and then pay Jamar Chase. So you're spending at least $55 million of your cap on two guys.
But again, you got to remember that you're going to, because House is saying they got to pay the pass rusher too, Hendrickson. That's fine. That's fine. You're talking about 4 players. You can pay 4 players. You have to structure the contracts, so that they don't all have huge cap hits at the same time. But you can absolutely do that.
Yeah,
Pick
I
57.
think they probably want a little more,
shame.
but if they did tag him and the guy's second round and a later pick, that would be better than letting him walk in free agency and getting a 3rd round comp pick.
Yeah, it would. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're just going to sign him and keep him.
Okay, all right. T. Higgins off the table. That doesn't mean. I mean, yes, McMillan in the draft, not a bad move. Now, we were looking at Garrett Wilson for the Jets because Garrett Wilson said if Aaron's coming back, I'm not going to be here. But Aaron ain't coming back.
So I don't think there's any problem there.
But what about Devontae Adams?
I don't really want to go after an old receiver.
He's not old. He's older.
He's like 32. Bryce is young. The rest of the team is pretty young as well. He's not really on the same timeline as the rest of the Panthers. Now, I'm again not saying that I wouldn't do it. It just wouldn't be my preference. He'd be down the list a bit with Cooper Kupp. Like with T. Higgins is off the table, Garrett Wilson's off the table. You just got to call around the league and see who might be available that you don't know about being available. What
about AJ Brown?
Yeah, I like AJ, but it would depend on what they're asking for. AJ got a problem, man. AJ got an attitude problem. Like, how are you mad? How are you mad at your quarterback who you win the Super Bowl? Like, what's going on, bro?
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is another thing that I want you guys to pay attention to, Ravens fans. They had a diva at wide receiver who, during a playoff win, is throwing a tantrum on the sideline, reading a book. Okay, he's not happy with his play time or something. I don't know. Wrong socks on or something. I don't know. He was mad about something. He threw a tantrum. They didn't say, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna suspend you for next week's game, and don't suit up, and then maybe we'll cut you." Hey, they just let him have his little hissy fit, okay? And when he was done, he went back to producing because those things don't matter. Stop focusing so much on an attitude problem. This person is throwing a fit and all that stuff. So what? Are you adults or not? You can't deal with somebody with a bad attitude that can perform, that can produce. No. Let that go. You're trying to win.
Yeah. But I don't want to. When you're the Eagles, that's fine. Now, if you're not winning, it's a much bigger problem. Well, and Carolina's not winning yet. I expect that they will be winning next year, but they're not winning yet. So he's again, not number one on the list. I see. What about Chris Godwin? I don't think Chris Godwin's going anywhere. But Chris Godwin has had some devastating injuries.
Yeah, and he's not going to be 100% going into next year. Not saying you don't get him, but
because at this point, I would take AJ Brown over McMillan, but I think that he's probably the only one that we've discussed so far that I would take over McMillan. Yeah.
Don't be mad because AJ's an avid reader. You're right. I'd be saying.
Yeah. But, again, for Carolina, because Carolina is in that unique situation where they're one of the worst teams in the league and they don't have any money.
They got 20 million.
They got 24 million. Yeah, but
yeah.
every year you look at the truly terrible teams and they're over 100 million in cap room. Carolina's never been near that because they're one of those teams like Baltimore that likes to, as you call it, spend their money on fast food, go out and overpay veterans. There was no reason on earth to pay Chuba Hubbard $8 million a year on this team.
That was okay. Chuba Hubbard is a lot better than I thought he would be.
He,
let me
Chuba
give him those
fine.
props. Now, you didn't spend it on fast food this time. You spent it on some premium vegetables. Okay, some Harris Teeter vegetables. All right, because you got a good O line. Right, you overpaid, quote unquote, for your two guard positions, but they're really good. So I think that's money well spent. So you have a little less money this year. It's all right. You don't need as much cap room because your problems aren't as big as they seem.
Chuba is he's fine. He's a fine player. He's not a special player, right? And listen, they were a very bad team who couldn't pass the ball, who had a pretty good O-line, who ran him as much as he could take. And a lot of running backs are going to have really good years in that situation. I remember a couple of years ago, Panthers fans were like, man, we got to bring back Deonta Foreman. He had several 100-yard games for Carolina, right? Deonta Foreman's not very good, and they let him go, and where's he at, right? If your running back isn't special, don't pay him, period. And I mean, that applies to most positions, but especially running back because their production is going to be determined by your O-line, more than anything else. So, right now in the O-line room or in the running back room, they're paying $8 million for Chuba Hubbard, still paying $6 million a year for Miles Sanders, and they got a second-round pick invested in a guy who tore his ACL twice. They're overpaying for running back like you wouldn't believe on this team, and that's part of why they never have any money. They do that all the time. And that's going all the way back in their history. That's not even just a Dan Morgan thing. But, when you have a team that's been bad for a long time, fans cling to players like that. They want to see players like that get paid and stay because that's the one thing you have to make you feel good. But now they have a quarterback and the coach, and we're going to forget about Chuba Hubbard.
A little off topic, but I'll answer this now. Omega21, shout out to you. Says, lunch break, you guys think 49ers will pay Brock Purdy? I don't think so. You think so, right?
100% they're paying Brock Purdy because teams in the NFL, well, one, I mean, he's proven that they can win with him. He's gotten to the Super Bowl. But teams in the NFL are terrified of moving on from their quarterbacks, even if they know they're not the guy. Why would the Giants pay $40 million a year for Daniel Jones after he proved for several years that he couldn't play? Because they're afraid of being like Dallas and going through Quincy Carter and Drew Henson and and that gaggle of misfits that they went through before they found Tony Romo. It's hard to find a quarterback, and teams are afraid of moving on if they have a guy who's serviceable.
Now, is he due to get paid this season or next season?
I believe it's this offseason.
If it's not this offseason and they don't pay him, he's still on that rookie deal. He ain't getting paid from 49ers because, look, the 49ers, they had to deal with a lot of injuries. I think they're still going to be a competitive team. I don't think they're going to represent the NFC East next year, right?
Well, that's because they're not in the NFC East.
Not East. I'm sorry. The NFC conference is the NFC East. The NFC conference. Shoot,
Yeah.
maybe not even the West, right? It depends. But they fall short of the Super Bowl again. Shanahan is definitely gone. And with Shanahan gone, the next coach is not going to want to tie himself to Brock Purdy.
You keep saying that you think they're going to fire. I don't think they're moving on from. I don't think they're close to moving on.
I was wrong this year. I thought they were going to fire him this offseason. I was wrong.
Yeah, no. But I'm saying I don't think they're close to even thinking about moving on from him.
Garner says Deebo Samuel needs to be weight controlled. They're trying to trade Deebo Samuel.
Well, they're trying. Yeah, they about to cut Debo. It looks like he is under contract for 2025. Talking about Brock Purdy, but I believe he is eligible for
His extension.
extension this offseason.
I don't think he gets it.
I think he gets it.
So Omega wants Lamar to go to San Francisco. It ain't happening, my friend. It ain't happening. Now, when he was a free agent, I could see that, and they would have already won a Super Bowl. They probably would have won 2 in a row. But he's not going anywhere. They're talking about redoing his deal so they can open up some cap space. But if I'm Lamar, I'm dead serious. I'd be holding out right now. I'd be saying, pay me more money. Okay, 2 years since he signed a deal.
I'll redo it, and I gotta have some say over where that money goes. Like,
well, no, I'll redo it, and you're gonna give me more money. That's what they did to Flacco. They redid his contract. They paid him more. So
and that's fine. But I'm saying, like, if you're gonna open up cap room, if you're gonna redo my contract and open up cap room, I'm gonna have some say over where that money's going. You're not gonna. I'm not even gonna bother doing it if you're gonna go out and sign another Roquan.
Oh, sure. No, absolutely. Absolutely. You have 2 options. I redo my contract and you bring in some help, or I redo my contract so you can pay me more money. If that happens to open up a little cap for you, that's fine. But my goal is you're going to pay me more. In fact, I want more guaranteed money because I was asking for a 100% guaranteed contract. You guys didn't want to give that. And the contract that I signed 2 years ago, I've already outperformed it. I've given you 2 MVP caliber seasons, right? And people expect him to be in a hunt again next year for MVP. So, I'm the best quarterback in the league. I want to be paid as such. Pay me.
You know, the good news is, going by the Josh Allen precedent, Lamar will be MVP next season regardless of how he plays.
Ah, there you go.
So
yes.
So that's nice.
Yep. So, but no, the Panthers, like I said, I know the Chuba Hubbard thing. He's good. He's good. I think a good draft, a couple of good moves in free agency. You get Derek Brown back healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That team is and you could have, even with all that, you had a few injuries. Even with all that went bad this year, there's at least 3 games that you could have won.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, one of them went right through Leggett's hands.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was necessary. You needed to see what you have in Leggett, right? I like that Dave Canales put him out there. He got a lot of targets. You got to see what he can do right now, what he needs to work on. I'm not gonna say what he can't do because it's too young, but what he needs to work on, and you go and get some guys that can do that. Ferris says Panthers making the NFC Championship game. All right, Ferris.
That's right, Ferris. See, my problem with the Chuba Hubbard thing is you look at last year. This year he had just under 1,200 yards, 4.8 yards per carry. And you're like, hey, that's great, 10 touchdowns, great season. But like I said, it's because they went out and they got 2 guards, right, in Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis, and that massively improved the O-line. Last year, he had 900 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, and 5 touchdowns. Chuba Hubbard is going to go as the O-line goes. And if you go as the O-line goes, I don't need to pay you $8 million a year. He had 12 fewer carries last year than he had this year. And almost 300 fewer yards. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't improve at all as a player, but he goes as the O-line goes. And for that, we can go and draft a rookie in the 4th round and get that.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. It's not the worst signing though.
$8 million a year for Chuba Hubbard. $8 million bought you Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I mean,
$8 million didn't get us Derrick Henry. Got us Chuba Hubbard.
But still pretty good though.
He's okay. He's an okay player.
All right, I try to bring some positive to B's team, and B's just raining on it. Okay.
I'm not raining on anything, man. I'm just saying, like, And I especially don't like the way they did it. Why would you pay him that before you even see Jonathan Brooks,
Yeah.
who you drafted in the second round? He was the first running back off the board. You don't even want to see what he looks like before you give an extension to the other guy?
Because you guys could be looking. I mean, not where you're picking, but like, I mean, if you want to trade back, you could be looking at Ashton Genty.
Absolutely. And ask me if I'd rather have Ashton Genty or Chuba Hubbard for $8 million a year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Anytime table Brooks coming back from an injury.
He's probably going to miss all of next year.
Oh, because he got hurt again.
Yeah, he tore his ACL again towards the end of the season. So he's probably going to miss most, if not all, of next year.
What's up, Dre? Shout out to Mr. Galloway. Salute to you. Appreciate you coming through.
What's up, Dre? I can't stand you. I be saying, who knows? Leggett might be good at soccer. It's in the name. He might be good at football. All right.
So Brooks likely to miss all of the 2025 season, which means you're probably looking to bring on another running back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
that would be something if you end up getting a running back that outperforms Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, it won't be hard. I'll tell you that. and again, I'm not trying to downplay Chuba Hubbard. Like, he's fine. He had a really good season, but like he's not a special player.
Wait a minute. I know what this is about.
What?
You don't like Chuba because he's a Drake fan.
I did find that out in the middle of the season. I was very, very disappointed in that. But no, I already didn't like the signing before I found that out.
The truth comes out. The truth comes out. Okay. Leave Drake alone. Has Drake not suffered enough?
No, he hasn't suffered at all.
Did you hear? We're gonna talk about this on Overtime Show. You hear in GTA 6, one of the radio stations in the game is gonna be a GNX radio station. It's gonna play all Kendrick Lamar music.
Oh, that's not nice. that can't be true. That can't be true.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, patreon.com/LBHT Show. That's where you can find the Overtime Show. We will discuss that and much more in the Overtime Show. So check it out right after this show. Running back class is so deep that we can get one in the 7th round or undrafted free agent. Yeah.
That's the thing.
And I think after this year, I think teams are going to put a little bit more of a premium on running back.
Well, it started already, right? Atlanta drafted Bijan in the top 10. Detroit drafted Jahmyr Gibbs at, I think, 12, I believe it was. Ashton Genty, I'm sure, is going to go in the first round. The league is starting to swing back that way because defenses have evolved a bit to take away the explosive pass games, which you see that in Kansas City, right? Like, they used to be able to score at will, and now it's a struggle for them, right? Yeah. Because they're not really built to run the ball. Pacheco's okay. Kareem Hunt's okay. But again, neither one of them are special players. And they can't just have guys run by the defense anymore like they did before. And listen, to Baltimore, you know what? No, I was gonna say to Baltimore's credit, but they just don't change is all. And it just came back around to them. They go out there, they sign Derrick Henry, and they're running over teams until it matters, until they're like, man, throw it to Ronnie Stanley. But that it goes in cycles. Defenses are going to get bigger, stronger, again, and slower again, and then it'll swing back the other way.
Yeah. I forgot to change this out. It says check out our merch, LBHTShow.com/shop. The /shop you can leave off. Just go to LBHTShow.com. You can see all of our merch. If you like what we're wearing, you can go over to LBHTShow.com. We're selling that. Also, you can sign up for our newsletter. Which we gotta stop saying is coming and actually put this thing out. But sign up to the newsletter. All right, put your email address in there and sign up. Okay. Why is B so disrespectful? Should I say you're being disrespectful?
No, I'm not. I don't know why you listen to Suge.
Oh, okay. All right. I can't listen to you, Suge. Can't listen to you anymore. Now, all right. Do we want to go court of public opinion and discuss this disgraceful event that took place over the weekend?
Yep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this may not be a real court, but it is the court that you need. Court of public opinion. starts right now. All rise. All rise. Court is now in session. All right. How many of you guys watched the NBA All-Star game?
Yeah, I watched it. Well, which one?
Just Aloe,
Which
order,
one?
sir.
Because
Order.
there were several.
He says guilty, and you're not wrong. Yeah. So I didn't even know this was a format. If you guys didn't watch, don't feel bad. I didn't really watch it. The All-Star weekend it was short-lived, right? Like it had. I mean, we were growing up. It was a bigger thing, but
Yeah.
as it kind of got to where it's at now, I think for a couple years it was fine. You know, it was an event. People show up. You see celebrities. You see the celebrity All-Star game. You see the 3-point contest and all that stuff. You know, like you enjoy the spectacle. Even the All-Star game, which you could tell they're not really trying, was still entertaining enough, right? Then they try less and they try less, and now they're trying different formats. I didn't even know about this new format until like the day before the game, where it's like a tournament style thing.
Yeah.
And somehow it was worse.
Well, you know, it was funny because you had a lot of people saying, "Man, it was pretty good," because you know they were at least they were playing hard, and that was true for the first couple games. Because if you don't know what the format was, they had 4 people pick teams. It was Shaq, Charles Barkley, Candace Parker, and Kenny Smith. They picked their teams. 2 of the teams are older players. 2 of the teams are the rising stars, right? Well, it was 1 rising stars, 1 1 foreign players, 1 OG, and then I think another rising stars kind of team. And the
shout out to Buck. Appreciate that, Buck. Bill. I'll talk while B's pulling up the comment. But basically, what B is saying is that it was 4 teams. It was 4 teams, tournament style. You know, like a semifinal type of thing. The first to 40 advances to the final game, and that within itself isn't a bad idea, I don't think. But to me, it didn't look great.
Well, again, like the problem was the older players played hard initially, and thank you, Buck, for the donation. Absolutely. He says the fact that pre and post game shows for NBA All-Star Game was longer than playing is ridiculous.
Yes.
Which is one of the things I don't like about it. I don't like the to 40 thing because it goes by so quick. I mean, these guys are, you know, the best in the world. Obviously, they're not playing super hard defense, and these guys can just start raining threes at any moment, and the game's just over. You know, but they started playing, and they started playing hard because none of the older guys wanted to get embarrassed and lose to the younger players. Right? Once they got to the finals and it was all older players, they stopped playing because they don't care, because there's no reason for them to care. I believe it was Jonathan Jones. He was a beat writer, used to be a beat writer for the Carolina Panthers. I think he's with the Athletic now, I believe. He gave his theory on it, and it's ring culture, right? Because nobody cares about you being an all-star. Yeah. And we see this in the NFL too, right? Y'all laugh at me when I say Daniel Falele was a Pro Bowler because you don't care about Pro Bowlers. You don't care about guys who earn that award. So why should they care about playing in the game, right? You're going to laugh at guys who have Pro Bowls and say it's a joke. You're going to laugh at players who make the All-Star game and say the voting is a joke. Who cares? Why should they care about playing in the game? You know, and this is supposed to be their break. It's a time off in the middle of the season, and it's a very, very long season, and a season that the NBA is trying to legislate that they play every game now. They're trying to punish teams for sitting players who need rest. And look, it's 82 games, and you eliminate 5 teams in your conference. 60% of the NBA makes the playoffs. You don't need an 82-game season to set the playoff field, right? But again, the point is that, hey, fans don't care about the players in the All-Star game. Why are you pretending to care about the All-Star game itself?
Yeah, for a team that, for a league that seemed very like progressive in terms of like making changes, and still is. I don't understand why they can't get away from the 82 game. Well, I understand why it's money, but
Yeah.
they should be looking to shorten the season. And the All-Star game, the All-Star weekend should happen after the season. I think they will play harder when the season's done, right? There's not another game to look forward to. I think you would get a much better competition than what are you putting up?
Just as I said, back in my day, guys played 82 games and they liked it.
Yeah, back in your day, guys had to get part-time jobs after the season was done.
Right.
Right? They still had to work at the gas station, you know? So like that's supplemented their income. They couldn't miss days. They didn't have that much PTO, right? but now guys get paid millions of dollars. Rings are what matter, and is in part because of the older crowd, okay? Not like us, but the older crowd that says doesn't matter. Jordan has 6 rings.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter, right? You don't have the rings. If that's all you're saying, then that's what these guys look at. They say, hey, well, I gotta get some rings. Nothing else matters. The in-season tournament doesn't matter. The All-Star games don't matter. You're not serious if you're putting too much effort into the All-Star game. You're supposed to be getting ready for the second half of the season. You got to turn up in the second half of the season. So, yeah, we did that, and I've seen this question pop up all over Twitter, all over YouTube, and Instagram. Everybody's trying to figure this out. How do you fix the All-Star game, B?
Yeah, it's real simple. You mentioned the in-season tournament, which, funnily enough, the players do care about, and you know why they care? Because they get money.
Yeah.
Stop trying to manufacture all these different formats. They don't care who their teammates are in the All-Star game. They don't care how many little mini games you put. Put some money on the line, and they will play hard. Now they're talking about copying the WNBA's one-on-one tournament, since the women have embarrassed the men in that fashion. They went out there and played I believe it was 16 women signed up for the All-Star or the one-on-one tournament, and they played to the end. They got a cash prize, and then as soon as that finished, they were like, why won't the men do it? Because they're scared. And so, Adam Silver came out and said they are looking at having a one-on-one tournament next year in the All-Star game with a $1 million prize. If they actually do that and they put $1 million on the line, I bet you they play hard. It's $500,000 for the in-season tournament, and teams play hard. They care about winning that tournament because they care about getting money. They
need to up the stakes. Make it $5 million.
Well, I mean, look, they'll care for $1 million. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But they're not going to care for nothing. They're not going to care because Adam Silver, wagged his finger at them and said, "Hey, you better play hard." Immediately after that, LeBron was like, "I'm not playing."
Right.
Right after that, like they don't care,
Right.
and they shouldn't care. You have to give them a reason to care about playing in this game.
And I'm sure they've expressed this like, hey, increase the cash incentives and we'll play harder, right?
Right.
Hey, we get paid to show up, but the winner takes home a boatload of cash, right? A boatload of cash. Yeah, you'll see them take a serious stand. But I'm gonna go the other way. You know how you fix the All-Star game? You don't have any NBA players. They need to do the same thing that I'm suggesting right now that you do in the NFL for the Pro Bowl. You need to have a cast of collegiate all-star players, right? The top players in the country. They can have an East versus West matchup and let them go out there and showcase their skills and increase their draft stock. Right now, and it'll be tough because it's right before the tournament.
Yeah, that's
but this is them showing off. Like you're on the big stage. You're playing on an NBA court. You got coaches, scouts, and everything out there. Everybody's watching. You would get players to show up.
But I don't know that they would be allowed to do it because it is in the middle of the season for them. They're getting ready to go into conference tournaments and all that. Like you said, if you move the All-Star weekend to after the season or something like that, then yeah, they could participate. But right now, they're not really going to be able to.
You know what? They will still show up. You know why? Because most of the top players don't even play in college anymore. They go to the G League, go overseas.
They are in college because now they get paid, which means they have to show up. So if you think that the NBA players are right for not caring about this farce of a game, it's a hashtag players. If you think the fans are right for complaining about the game that they ruined, it's hashtag fans. But yeah, I saw you, Buck. I saw this nonsense you put in here about the MLB being better than the NBA All-Star game. No, it isn't. It's so much more ridiculous. And I know they don't do this anymore, but the fact that you actually determine home field advantage in the World Series by the All-Star game winner disqualifies you from ever being better than anything. Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, no. When's the last time anybody talked about the MLB All-Star game?
No, Reg. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Give them $1 million in home court advantage in the finals. Why play the season then? Why bother with the season if you're gonna give out home court advantage based off of a game that nobody cares about?
I think it should be move All-Star weekend and have the prospects play in it.
And I've told you for years, like I saw somebody saying they need to fix the dunk contest. You can't really fix the dunk contest. There's only so many things that a person's going to be physically able to do in the couple seconds that they're in the air. The guys don't have 80-inch verticals, right? Like they all jump around the same height. There's only so many things that you can do. But you know what they could do? Get rid of the NBA players and bring in the and one type players. I know that's not really anymore, but the street ballers.
No, we talked about this the other day, B. I'm disappointed in you. We solved this already.
Oh no, I know.
2-on-2 tournament.
Yeah,
and you only get points with dunks.
Well, no. That was your take on my idea, which was the 2-on-2 tournament where you pick one rim protector and one dunker on your team. And it's essentially a shootout format where, hey, if I'm the Timberwolves, I'm picking Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. And Rudy goes out there and the other dude tries to dunk on Rudy. And then on the other end of the court, Anthony Edwards tries to dunk on whoever their rim protector is. And you go back and forth and whoever wins, wins. You can go through a tournament that way. But, you can't just, hey, we're gonna roll the ball out there, and you guys, I know you're on vacation, but go play super hard in this game that means nothing is never gonna work.
And that would definitely work, that format, because then tempers flare when that happens.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Somebody doesn't want to get dunked on. He might do a hard foul. Somebody does get dunked on, but get in the face, tempers flare. Then you might see a couple fights break out.
Right.
Big Red says the season will determine playoff seeding, but All-Star game decides who gets the finals.
I understood what you were saying. It's a bad idea. They did this in baseball. It is a terrible idea. Like, you're stripping it from the best team in the league. Like, you play to get home field throughout the playoffs. It matters even more in the finals, and you're taking it away based off of a game that means nothing.
All right, what's the hashtags again? Hashtag
players, hashtag fans. I left the N on there. But if you think that the players are correct to not care about this game, hashtag players. If you think that the fans are correct for crying about a game that means nothing, hashtag fans.
There you go. And the fans are up right now. Okay?
Yeah, it's a travesty.
I don't think they understood the question.
Right after you tried to say this was the most informed group.
Because they said fans. Wait, Us? Yeah. So
Disappointed in you, Ferris and Jay. Very disappointed.
the fans are at fault here. Okay, the fans say these games don't matter, but also we want entertainment. All right, like you have to think about the ramifications of these things. And look, when you say nothing else matters, because nobody says, "Hey, man, at least my favorite player got the representing the All-Star game. At least our team won the in-season tournament." Like you don't like. All we do is criticize those things.
Mm-hmm.
The courts look ugly. Oh, this is such a waste of time.
Who cares about a fake trophy?
Yeah.
I can't believe you hung up a banner for winning a championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, fans are the worst.
Right. Right. So if you guys don't care about that, then the players aren't going to care about that. So you're welcome. There's your All-Star weekend.
I cannot believe this is the wrongest the chat has ever been in court of public opinion. This is incredible.
I don't think they understood what you're asking.
No, they understand. They're just wrong.
Okay, real quick while we're speaking about All-Star the All-Star game, I want to give a shout out. Who was the actor that won MVP? Rome something.
Rome.
Who was the guy?
Rome. I want to say it starts with an F, but I can't remember now.
Who was the guy that won the All-Star MVP? It wasn't even that hard of a name, but shout out to him because he scored like 28 points or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
I always said
Rome Flynn.
Shout out to him. I always said if I got invited to an all-star basketball game, they're all out there just having fun. They just, it's just fun for them. I would train like an animal. Okay, from the time I got that invite, I'm in that gym. I'm getting somebody to train me, and I'm trying to drop 50 in that piece because, especially if I'm a lower tier actor or celebrity or whatever, man, I'm going out there. I'm Steph Curry. I'm taking every shot. If I could dunk, I'm throwing down hammers. I'm getting noticed out there, and that's exactly what Rome Flynn did. He took advantage of it. I hope nothing but good things come for him in the future. I hope he gets rolls off of this. All right. I want to see him in Above the Rim Part 2. I want to see him, in a Marvel movie. Okay. Congrats to you, because he went out there with everybody out there. My Drewski's out there playing around. Kai Cenat, his 5'0" self out there, getting blocked by everybody. Right. Rome Flynn said, "Give me the rock, and I'm a score." Shout out to you, man. That was my favorite part of the whole weekend.
This is funny. Ferris says it was perfect in 2024. The format was nice. They played for charity each quarter. Then they did the Elam ending. They've never complained more than after 2024. Fans have never complained more about the All-Star game than after last year.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. And this is the entire point. Fans don't know what fans want. Fans want to complain, especially basketball fans.
All right, man. Y'all like this segment, man. We still got 65 people in here. Salute to y'all. We're going to do submitted questions, but don't forget to like and subscribe, like it says up there. A second ago, it is reminding you, patreon.com/LBHT Show. That's how you can support this channel even more if you like what we're doing. For as little as $5 a month, we got our two popular tiers are $5 and $10. Okay, for $5, you get access to the Overtime Show, which happens right after this show. Also, you get access to our Discord channel. The thing about the Discord is once you're in, you're in. Okay, you sign up to Patreon and then you don't sign up later on. You get off Patreon. You're still in the Discord. We're building a community over there. We don't kick anybody out unless you ask to get kicked out. So if you're a member before and you're not a member now, you are still a part of the Discord. Okay, that doesn't go away. If for a $10 tier, you get a nice LBHT crew coin. But my hand won't disappear there, like this right here. Okay, so.
And Kim, if you're still in here, let us know if you want the coin and where we need to send it.
Yeah, Kim. Yes, our newest Patreon member, Kim. Appreciate you. So, and we remind you again in the overtime show. Send us an address to send your coin. Okay. And we got all kinds of perks for different tiers. All right. So go and check it out. But the overtime show, people love that show. Okay. That's where we discuss anything you want to discuss. I'll throw out a topic just to get things started. Tonight we're going to be talking about the new Captain America movie, Brave New World, and we're going to talk about the Marvel Universe in general. Okay. Just where it's at. And we're going to be talking about how Kendrick Lamar's got a whole radio station on GTA 6.
That has
He
to
does
be
not
fake.
believe it. It is
has
true.
to be fake.
Yes.
100%
Yeah. And Suge says,
has to be fake.
Suge says I got playing cards with all LBHT members on them. That is that is the bootleg version right there. We do have playing cards though. We got Ring Kings podcast playing cards right here. All right. It's still in the these are some quality cards too.
Yes, they are.
Look at it. Look at that. Look at that. We got all kinds of different playing perks for signing up. That's for the $20 tier. You get the card and you get the coin. All right. So check it out. Check it out. All right. We got submitted questions, and then we're going to head over to the overtime show. You ready?
Yes.
Let's do it. All right, Killer says Frank Ocean has a station on GTA 5 as well. Hey, what's up, Sterling? Sterling says, hold up. Was that the new coin? I gave you one of these coins. Yes. I gave you. You have one of these. If you don't, just hit me up. I got you. He said he needs it. I got you. If you need one, you'll get one. All right. So Frank Ocean, Kendrick Lamar confirmed for GTA 6. Any Drake station yet? No.
None of that's confirmed. Says who? Rockstar didn't say so.
We'll talk about it in the overtime show. We'll talk about it. It's true.
So we have a few
You have coins and cards, Suge. And apparently you've copied them to sell on the side. All right. Oh, okay. What's the first question here?
All right. First question we have from we kind of just went over this from M. Holt. What needs to happen to improve the NBA All-Star Game? Pay the winners.
Is Osmond still waiting for his coin?
No. Osmond told me that I thought he said he had his coin. What, man? Osmond? Don't look. I'm going to go back to the messages. When I asked you for your address and you did not give me your address because you said you had it.
All right.
And by the way, Osmond, I want to say thank you for the recommendation for the Black History Fact. We actually did do one on Robert Smalls already, but keep the recommendations coming. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Osmond. Really appreciate that. And send us your address if you want the coin. Send us your address, and you got it. Okay, what would need to happen to improve the NBA All-Star Game? We touched on that. I say get the prospects in there. Same thing that needs to happen for the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl, it's not even a game anymore, right? They rightfully pivoted away from it. But if you had the Senior Bowl, which is a big deal, like you're that close. You got the Senior Bowl, you got the Pro Bowl, Senior Bowl, Pro Bowl. Have the Senior Bowl in the Pro Bowl. Let those guys go out there.
Yes, but make it the Shrine Game because the dude who runs the Senior Bowl is a dick.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be those guys. You know what I'm saying? But like you have your top prospects go out there and play in the game, right? Same thing for the All-Star Game. You have the top prospects coming in, try to get their stock up, and they will play some serious basketball. Mm-hmm. You know, and it gets more eyes on these young guys. It gets people excited. It works for the NBA because outside like the first 2 or 3 players, nobody knows who's in the draft. No. But if you showcase them on All-Star Weekend, they know who's in the draft. People get excited about that.
I guarantee you NBA fans will complain about that because they'll say, I want to see NBA players.
Sure, but they'll watch.
Yeah,
fans are going to complain no matter
they
what.
watch now. Like, so we're still talking about it, right?
But they will. So, but the ratings are going down. They'll complain about this in the beginning, but they'll keep watching, and the ratings will go up because these guys are playing hard, and these are the future stars of the league.
Listen, the answer, as always, they're doing this with the NBA. They do it with the NFL. Every single job that you've ever had does this. Oh well, how can we increase worker morale? Well, let's have a movie day outside of your work hours, so you have to spend your free time here with us as well. Let's go on a retreat. No, more money and better benefits. Those are the only things that matter. Pay the players, and the game will be better.
You're right. Yes, yes, more money. That's the answer because that's what Adam Silver wants. He wants them to take it more seriously so they can increase ratings so they can make more money, right? Because these TV stations are paying a lot of money for the product and they want to see a return on investment. Pizza Party coming right up. Right. But that's what it is. They want to see better performance. You have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right, and it's not pennies. Like, you got to pay these guys. And these are all stars, so they get paid a lot of money. You have to pay more money for them to be interested. And shout out to Adrian with the $5 donation. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Adrian.
It says USA versus the world. All stars shouldn't be put at risk of losing to potential future Home Depot employees, in my opinion.
Well, no, when I say the prospects, he's not talking about the prospects playing the NBA players. He's talking about the prospects playing each other.
Yes.
So
yeah. Like,
although I think I did hear that one of the teams in the All-Star game did have a player on it who is currently unemployed. So that was nice. And so, a bunch of them weren't all-stars, obviously, because they're rising stars. But yeah. So that was the first question there. Okay, Kim, thank you.
All right, we got you.
Next up, we have, why has Bisciotti, this is from AJC Senior, why has Bisciotti refused to move on from John Harbaugh? This is another easy one. We talk about this one all the time. Because he doesn't care if they win a Super Bowl or not. He just cares about making money. And they win enough games that they're still making money.
Yeah, he's gotten complacent. That's all it is. He's gotten complacent. And yes, he's putting butts in the seats. People love Lamar. They're buying the merch. Generally speaking, the fans are happy because we win a lot of games. It's just, towards the end of the season, in the playoffs, it's very disappointing. It's very crushing because we fall short. But next year comes, and we go on a win streak, and Lamar is playing amazing. Talking about him for MVP. Everybody is having fun. The stadium is sold out. So he looks at his bottom line and says, good enough. Now, there are some owners that say that's not good enough. Yes, we expect to make money because we have the team to make people come and watch. We have star power. That's great. Also need a Super Bowl, right? And Philly and Kansas City have shown that getting there is not good enough.
Thank you very much, DJ.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And really, San Francisco, they've fallen short, but if they don't get it done, me and B disagree a little bit on this, but they don't get it done. I don't think they're going to stick with Shanahan. They're trying to win.
They're going to stick with Shanahan because they have a good young team. They're going to be in the hunt, and you're not going to fire them while they're in the hunt. Baltimore is a bit different because they look like they're in the hunt, but they ain't really. San Francisco has made it to the Super Bowl a couple of times recently. They've fallen short, but they've gotten there a couple times recently.
The team's not that young. I don't believe
the team. They're not super young.
They're young enough.
The guys that you're thinking about that are older have already been replaced, except for Trent Williams. Because how do you replace Trent Williams? But a guy like Debo's already been replaced. Jawan Jennings went for over 800 yards this year. They just drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round this year. They drafted I forget the guy's name. I want to say Jacob Cowing. They drafted another receiver a little later in the draft. Like they they're replacing those guys. They have 4 good running backs. So yeah, Christian McCaffrey's a
Nothing
better
but Christian McCaffrey.
No, but you're not going to be able to replace Christian McCaffrey, and these guys are very productive. They've been very.
You don't have a replacement for the tight end.
George Kittle, no, not right now. But again, George Kittle's still going, so they still have time to do that. But like I said, the problem for them will be replacing Nick Bosa, replacing Fred Warner. Those are more difficult to do.
Are they bringing back Greenlaw?
I believe so. Yes, those are more difficult to do. But again, those guys are on defense, and we know that you don't need a top tier defense to stay as a contender. They'll still be a good defense, right? And you go out and you have Brock Purdy with George Kittle, with Jacob Cowing. Yeah, thank you. With Brandon Ayuk, with Ricky Pearsall, with Juwan Jennings, with those other running backs. You're still going to be a very, very competitive team. And you're in a division that's not very good, honestly.
Yeah, these guys are not going to be as good as the guys that they have now. Like, none of these guys are going to be Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey's a special player, right? So they might be competitive, but they won't be as strong. The window will start to close a little bit, right? You don't have that quarterback that can really get them over the top, right? And you got Philly that's not going anywhere. You got Detroit that's not going anywhere. Some of these other teams are starting to come up. It's going to be harder, and I don't think the owner's going to look at it and say, "Hey, man, at least we're competitive." An organization like that's used to winning Super Bowls. They have a lot of Super Bowl trophies. They've made a lot of appearances. They're trying to win another one. I don't think he's going to be complacent for much longer. But we'll see. But regardless, they've been further than the Ravens recently. At least they're getting to the Super Bowl.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, they're not going to move on from Lynch and from Shanahan because they, you can say that you don't like these players as much, even though they have been very productive. But you have the guys who put those teams together, right? And you're not going to move on from them when they've been to the Super Bowl. It's going to take a long time for them to forget they went to the Super Bowl twice. Once with a dude who's basically a model playing football, right?
Should have said everyone's been further than the Ravens, not the Steelers.
Yeah, no. And now and you look at Brock Purdy. I guarantee you they're looking at Brock Purdy as a resetting of the window because Brock Purdy's young, and they think he's a top quarterback. And you're saying, hey, we have him, we protect him, we keep the some playmakers on offense, and we'll be there every year. This year, the only reason they weren't there was injury. It was the only reason they weren't there.
I don't know what healthy.
They're meeting in the playoffs. I'm not saying that they would have beat Philly and Detroit or whatever, but they're in the playoffs. They would have absolutely been in the playoffs had they not had that huge list of injuries.
Oh, no doubt.
So
no doubt.
We do have another submitted question here. Let's see. There we go. And this is from D Weezy. Thank you very much. He says, how ashamed should the NBA and NFL be after seeing the intensity brought in the NHL's Four Nations Cup, which is just an exhibition tournament that they've played or are still playing, I guess. I don't think the finals happened yet. I'm going to say not at all because it's hockey and nobody cares about hockey. The intensity of those games, as great as those games were that everybody's talking about, I think it was between 4 and 5 million people watched. I don't think either league really cares about that.
So, I mean, good for NHL if you're an NHL fan. Mm-hmm. These problems that NFL and NBA have with their Pro Bowl, All-Star, respectively, those games, those are very small problems.
Yeah.
Okay, because even when they're not good, they still get a lot of ratings, mm-hmm. right? They still get people talking about it. Now, is it the way that they want people to talk about it? No. And Adam Silver is trying, he's really trying to change it and figure out a formula to get people to watch. And he'll come around to the understanding of we need to pay these guys. He will. The Pro Bowl, the NFL said, man, it is what it is, right? Like, we're not going to do much more playing around with this.
What's up,
What's
Coach?
going on, Coach? Salute. Thanks for coming through.
Well, I kind of
but-
like the direction the NFL has gone because you can't play a real game of football in the Pro Bowl. It's too physical a game, and teams are not going to send their players to get hurt. But
who you're selected to the Pro Bowl, that's
but that's engagement, right? They have fans voting on that. But in terms of the actual event, they're having a bunch of different events, right?
It's
And
not all fans,
some of
like,
them, no. But I'm saying
probably
that
didn't get voted in by the fans.
No. But fans have a part of it. Is what I'm saying. Like
Yes.
the coaches vote, fans vote, and then I believe it's the media votes as well. But I'm saying like a lot of that is fan engagement because the fans shouldn't have a vote for who goes to the Pro Bowl. I mean, everybody just you see every team does a huge Twitter push for you to go on there and just vote all of their players in. Because they just want people tweeting about it. But they have a bunch of different skill competitions. Some of them are fun. Some of them kind of suck. But they're in the early stages of it. You just got to try to figure out what works, what doesn't. I say bring back the quarterback challenge that they used to have, and then have a 40-yard dash competition, and you can throw in a couple of other events, and it's fine.
Yeah, I remember. I think this right before the NHL had a lockout. There's a playoff game, and I believe the game went into overtime. And they were like, "Yeah, this is a great game, but we gotta cut it short here because there's like horse racing going on or something. It'll go-kart horse racing, like something like that, where they're just like, hey man, the schedule's the schedule. Right.
Something that shouldn't be preempting a major sport. Right?
Go to ESPN.com and look at the ticker on there to check out the score to this game because we're not showing it here anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's when I realized the NHL is not on any of these leagues level.
No, they're not. And that's the other thing too. The intensity. There were 3 fights in the first 10 seconds of the USA-Canada game. Nobody wants that. the NHL is the only league that encourages fighting, and it's stupid.
Yeah. All right, that is it. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us, man. This was a fun show. You want to keep the party going? Go over to patreon.com/LBHT Show. We're going to be talking some Marvel. All right. There's a new movie that's out, Captain America: Brave New World. A lot of mixed reviews, emotions about that. We're going to discuss it, and we're going to discuss the MCU as a whole, where they're at right now. I don't think they're in a good place. I don't think they are. But we're going to discuss all that. We're going to discuss, I guess, some GTA 6 now. Who's on the playlist in GTA 6? Okay. Appreciate everybody coming through. B, any parting words before we get out of here?
No.
That's it. Are you ready?
Go. I am just about ready.
B is ready. All right, Patreon members, get ready. The Overtime Show starts soon. Like it says right there, check out our merch, LBHTShow.com. You can leave out the /shop, LBHTShow.com, and that will get you some dope merch that we're wearing right now, and you can sign up for our newsletter. All right. Overtime Show starting in a couple minutes. Everybody else, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Oops. And there we go.